Was it for Manchester City? You did say at the end they're no worse off than they were on Friday morning,
no.
With Arsenal having lost as well. So, but we're very reluctant to point a finger at Pep Guardiola, understandably.
No, we
but
can't.
But there's something not City-like about them.
No, do you know something, Martin? 2-3 weeks ago, I was asked who I thought would win the league, and I said Manchester City. And to be fair, I've said it a couple of times since you asked me on this podcast. And Arsenal fans have obviously been up in arms about that, thinking that I'm not paying them respect. However, I have to say that yesterday when Arsenal lost, because of what's happened in this last week, I said this to you before the game, I'm less sure about City. I said this to you before the game. I'm less sure about City before this game than I was 2 weeks ago. And today they can go within 2 points of Arsenal. That seems really strange. But the Cancelo incident, the leaving out of De Bruyne, Diaz and Laporte still stuck on the bench, just things that I look at. I think Gundogan not playing today. It just feels all a little bit odd. Some would call it tinkering. You know, he's a genius, Pep Guardiola, and this is a moment in time. But it isn't beyond criticism. We have to notify people when we think that we see something that's not strange. And this is a very odd period in the sense of what's going on. We said a few weeks ago when we did this reverse fixture, why is De Bruyne not playing? Why is Cancelo not playing? Why is so-and-so not playing? Why is Diaz and Laporte not back at centre-backs? I'm still thinking that now, but he made us look stupid a few weeks ago because obviously they came back and won 4-2.
But not to satisfy him, because after that game, even though they come back and won the game, he made that press conference and the interview with us about things not being right. And
they're not right. No. Honestly, today, that was not... I mean, forget the fact that they've lost 1-0. There's been times when I've watched Pep Guardiola's teams lose, and I've thought that's still a Pep Guardiola performance. The amount of times that they got counter-attacked on today, the amount of times that they got broken through, the amount of space that they gave up in midfield and the joy that Bentancur and Højbjerg had, that doesn't happen. When Manchester City are absolutely at their best, they make sure they sustain attack. So they'll keep the ball up in the final third of the pitch, they'll play it around, they'll often give it away, but then when they give it away, they'll go and win it back 9 times out of 10 within a 20-30 minute sort of space, 20-30 yard space. Today, they were having to charge back to their own goal. And that's because they're just not right. You know, I spotted the sort of idea of that right channel where Rico Lewis was playing. I thought if he comes into midfield, 𝐂𝐈𝐓𝐘 and Kane will spring into that side with Emerson Royal, and they did do, and it was an out for Tottenham the whole day. What Manchester City ordinarily do is not give you an out. They don't give you an out. And then they got the out, but then the City back four weren't dealing with it either. So they were breaking through the midfield, which is unusual, but then they were breaking through the back line as well. Obviously, they're a good front three. So the two things that you ordinarily always think about with Pep Guardiola's teams defensively is winning the ball back early and sustaining attacks, and then maybe the back four might sweep it up if the midfield don't win it. Those two things didn't happen today, and that's a real worry because it undermines your performance if you're getting counter-attacked against. I always remember the most difficult games that we had at Old Trafford were where we couldn't sustain attacks and we were having to attack and then run back to our own goal. If you're having to run back to your own goal, you have to start all over again, and that's what was happening today.